Hey guys, so what we've got today is some World War II lunchbox recipes. Now, the suggestion for World War II lunchboxes for like school kids or war workers, factory workers, etc., the backbone of the meal was supposed to be at least 2 different kinds of sandwiches. So I found, naturally, a couple of weird kinds of sandwiches. Alright, so 2 sandwiches. And in addition to that, they wanted you to pack a thermos with at least 1 hot item. If it wasn't a soup, then it would be like hot cocoa, or if somebody was a grown-up, maybe some coffee or something hot. The idea is that hot food is nourishing. And in addition, they also said it had to be 2 different kinds of sandwiches, as opposed to just 2 sandwiches that were the same kind. So basically, the idea here is variety, right? You're not just eating 2 bologna sandwiches, and that's it. You're eating 2 bologna sandwiches that are cold, and some kind of fruit or dessert, or both a fruit and a dessert, either way, some kind of salad or vegetable, and then something hot, which not only is it nourishing, but it provides variety, which is what people in these cookbooks were saying, hey, you need variety in lunchboxes. Don't make the same sandwich every day. Don't leave the same, you don't want the people that you're making these lunch boxes for to get bored of their lunch. Because, actually one of the things, here, I'll start cooking, I guess. Well, it's not really cooking. While I talk so that you guys have something to watch and won't get bored of me. So, this recipe that I found on Pinterest had the weird idea of combining cream cheese with mayo instead of just doing straight up cream cheese sandwich. Weird, right? Where's my mayo? Yeah. So, that's kind of another thing I noticed, I don't know about you guys, but with me, in modern days, yeah, I don't really, combine, another example, a lot of times they have you, mix butter with something to be a sandwich spread instead of just using butter, or they would have you mix something with salad oil or mayo or something instead of just using the ingredient straight up. We just put cream cheese on our cream cheese and jelly sandwiches, right? Am I alone in this? We put mayo straight onto a sandwich instead of mixing it with something. But back in the day, apparently, you just combined a whole bunch of weird stuff together. Alright, so 1 packet of mayo is about a tablespoon, which is what the recipe calls for. And I'm kind of guesstimating on the cream cheese, how much it'll take for a sandwich. I don't know. If there's leftover, I can use it for a second sandwich at some point, right? Oh boy. I hope there isn't any leftover. And this isn't mixing together super well. Maybe if I, used a different tool, like a spatula, a rubber spatula, or a whisk or something. I don't know. A whisk would be overkill, I think, for something as soft as cream cheese and mayo. Ooh, maybe I should use a whisk. A rubber spatula to spread it on, though. Nah. Oh yeah, and I was gonna give you guys an update too about like my life, because I didn't do that in the war cake video. I haven't quit my job, but I've been actively applying for new jobs. And I got A's in both my classes my first quarter. So yay for that. My new quarter begins next week. It kind of doesn't even feel like I got a real break, to be honest, because I was working my whole break. But I'm not complaining because I need the money. Alright, let's see here. Where's that recipe? So, by the way, the recipe that I'm currently doing is just one that I found on Pinterest. It's not like from any of my various cookbooks that I actually own. If you want to find me on Pinterest, you really can, because I use the same name on there that I use on YouTube, so you can find me, you can add me or whatever, you can follow me, and I have a whole bunch of weird, and some really good sounding, World War II recipes pinned on there. Oh, wow! Oh my god, I think I underestimated adding mayo to cream cheese, because this is totally spreading easier than regular old cream cheese would have. Maybe they were actually onto something. Alright, so, it's not a typical cream cheese and jelly sandwich. It's a cream cheese that has been mixed with mayo on this side of the bread, and jelly on the other side of the bread, on the other slice of bread. Alright, and then for sandwich numero dos, we have, oh gosh, so this is from my, this one here is from my pocket cookbook, the one from the McCall's writer. I've cooked from this before for you guys. This particular recipe is for peanut butter and relish sandwich. So that could be interesting. Now, remember I talked about combining stuff? Alright, blend peanut butter with mayonnaise or salad dressing, because you can't have just the fucking peanut butter and relish, right? You have to add something else to it. I'm not gonna do mayo with peanut butter because that's too weird, and this is already weird enough, adding relish to peanut butter. But you know what? I have found multiple recipes from the 40s that use the combination of pickles or relish or something like that with peanut butter. So maybe they're onto something with this weird-ass sandwich. Woo! My phone just fell. Y'all good? Alright. And I've mentioned to you guys before that salad oil, what used to be called salad oil, is now called canola oil. So I'm adding a little bit of canola oil to my peanut butter because peanut butter isn't oily enough already, right? Gotta make it oilier! Although, I'm sure that helps improve the spreadability the way that the mayo helped improve the spreadability of the cream cheese. See, now I'm second guessing everything I ever thought I knew. Alright. Sweet relish. It has to be sweet relish. It does say that. It says add sweet pickle relish. Alright? So none of that non-sweet relish? I don't know. I've never, I don't think, encountered non-sweet relish. Or at least not anything that was labeled as such. And I'm using crunchy peanut butter because I prefer the texture. But if you want to use creamy peanut butter, if you prefer that, you can. If you want to not fucking add relish to your peanut butter or salad oil, you can. Oh man, you know what inspired me to actually finally do this lunch box recipe video was the fact that I am taking a day trip tomorrow. So I was like, oh well, I'm gonna need to pack some lunches. Might as well do a lunch theme thing. And also, you know, with school coming up next quarter, I'm probably gonna pack my lunches for that too, because I'm gonna be going full-time instead of just part-time like I did last quarter. So there will be a few days that I'm there like all day. You feel me? Alright. So, those are the two sandwiches. We'll finish the meal in a moment. Okay, so for the hot dish component of my lunch, I'm going to show you the old-fashioned World War II stovetop method for making hot chocolate. So I'm gonna be putting, I guess if it was wartime and I was taking this to the factory for lunch, I would be putting it in my thermos and packing it alongside my sandwich and my dessert / fruit and my salad / vegetables. So we're scalding this milk. It's 1 cup of milk. If you don't know what scalding means, that means that you're bringing it to just below the boiling point. You don't want it to completely boil. Okay, so I was an idiot and wasn't watching my milk, and I let it get to a boil. Don't be like me. Alright, so 1 square of unsweetened chocolate, 1/8 of a cup of sugar. I told you guys I was going to show you the way to make proper hot chocolate on the stove, and then I messed it up myself. This is, by the way, adapted from a recipe from one of my World War II books. It's not the exact recipe that's in the book, though. So, I mean, it's pretty similar. The main change I made was having it, because it made 6 servings worth, which is a lot. It's more than my single ass needs. So we're melting the chocolate and sugar, getting everything all heated up, and then we're going to, like I said, if it was World War II, we would put it in a thermos to take to the factory or whatever war job you had, no matter what gender you are. Because I know that a lot of times they talked about, like, factory jobs as, like, and war work as, like, oh yeah, Rosie the Riveter, women, do it. But a lot of guys took jobs in those fields and everything, you know? So they would put this hot chocolate, maybe not quite like it is right now because it's not ready, but they would put it in their thermos to take with them. Or they would take, like, hot soup or whatever. Just, you know, canned soup was a thing back then, but I thought it would be more interesting to show you guys how to make stovetop hot chocolate as a hot dish instead of just, like, what you guys already know, dumping soup from a can into the pot and adding water and stuff. I don't know. I was trying to be interesting, and I might have messed it up by letting my milk boil. We'll see. Okay, so people must have had tiny-ass mugs in the 40s, because this is the halved recipe for hot chocolate. it was supposed to make 6 servings, so I halved it, which is supposed to make 3 servings. It's like, how can you fill a thermos, an entire thermos, with that? It doesn't even fill my mug. Alright, so here's my World War II lunchbox. It's not in an actual lunchbox because I don't actually have a World War II lunchbox. So, I've got my hot component, which is hot chocolate. I've got my fruit/dessert, which is an apple. I've got carrot sticks for the vegetable. And I've got 2 sandwiches. One of them is that cream cheese jelly sandwich that has the weird added ingredient of mayo, and the other is the peanut butter and salad oil and pickle relish. I haven't actually tried these sandwiches yet, so I figured, what's the point in making weird sandwiches if I don't gross myself out with them for your entertainment? I don't know. I probably won't be grossed out by them. The only thing I've made on this channel so far that's really grossed me out was like that, what was it, the anchovy paste and celery or something like that? No, anchovy paste and almonds. Oh yeah, that was gross. So this is the cream cheese and jelly one. It's kind of meh. Like, it's not disgusting, but it's not amazing. Alright, time for pickle relish and peanut butter and pickle relish. Like I said, maybe, for all I know, they were onto something, because I've seen pickles or relish paired with peanut butter in sandwiches in multiple World War II 1940s type recipes. So who knows? I mean, I'll keep my mind open as much as possible. Okay, so that kind of just tasted like peanut butter. I didn't get any pickle relish flavor in that bite. Maybe in the next one. Oh boy. It's weird. It's like, I don't taste like a strong pickly flavor, but I taste like the vinegar from the pickle relish. The vinegar is what I'm getting out of this. I don't taste the pickle. Wow, okay. Yeah, that is interesting. I don't like pickly, I don't like vinegary flavored peanut butter, but wow, that's interesting. I don't like it. It's interesting, though. Like, I want to eat the rest of this sandwich and see how my perception changes as I eat it, if that makes any sense. Like, every time I bite into it, whenever I get that vinegar flavor, I'm like, ugh, that's weird, that's gross. But I'm so intrigued, I can't just stop. Wow. Alright. So, World War II style lunch. I'll probably do another thing like this in the future. Because, like they said, variety is the key, and don't make the same thing every day. So I could easily find more weird-ass sandwiches to make for y'all, right? Like, I could probably make several videos just about sandwiches. Alright, we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye. Hello, and happy 4th of July to my fellow Americans. It's not the 4th while I'm filming this, but it'll be the 4th when I post it. I've got something very special today, since, kind of getting into the patriotic holiday spirit type thing, I've got a war cake. Now, this particular war cake isn't from World War II, it's from World War I. And the recipe I got from a cookbook I have called Mama's in the Kitchen, Weird and Wonderful Home Cooking, 1900 to 1950. So this actually isn't like from any era, this book. It just collects old recipes that are from old eras. And the thing about this recipe, war cake, it's kind of timeless. Even though this particular version came from World War I found a lot of similar recipes online for World War II and even from the Civil War. So this is an old recipe with different variations and whatnot, and it definitely predates World War II. Basically what a war cake is it's a cake that has either brown sugar or corn syrup or honey or some other alternative sweetener as opposed to regular white sugar, and usually it'll have shortening or margarine instead of butter, and sometimes it'll even be eggless and milkless as well. Now, during World War I, in America, we rationed eggs. We did not ration eggs during World War II, so if you want more of a World War II era one, it could be possible to include eggs and have it still be authentic. But also keep in mind that in the UK, eggs were still rationed during World War II, so either way, either including or excluding the eggs, it'll be authentic for World War I or World War II. So the first step, I've got my oven preheating to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I've got 1 3/4 cups water going into a pan. I've got 1 cup of brown sugar. Woo! Splashed a little there. I've got half a cup of shortening because of the whole no butter thing. And I've got 1 cup of raisins here. Now, this recipe says it calls for citron as well, but I didn't have citron, and I didn't want to go buy citron just for this recipe, and none of the other recipes I found for war cake type things have included citron. Most of them just have raisins as like the only fruit. So I think it's just as authentic omitting the citron, if not more authentic, because most war cake recipes didn't include it in the first place. Alright, 1 teaspoon nutmeg. 1 teaspoon cinnamon. Then half a teaspoon of salt. So we're going to get this boiling, all right? And we're going to let it boil for about 3 minutes. All right, it's been boiling for about 3 minutes, so now we're removing it from the heat. It has to cool off before we can add the rest of the ingredients. And I forgot to mention while I was doing my long-ass intro talking about the history of war cakes, I'm actually concurrently filming 2 videos. So, after this one, you won't have to wait like 3 months or whatever it was for the next one. It'll be next week. But that being said, after the next video, who knows how long it'll take. Hopefully not as long, but that's what I said last time too. Sorry. This is a hobby for me. If it felt like an obligation, I'd be doing it like every week. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to like force it. Alright. Alright, it has cooled off, so now I'm going to add 2 cups of flour and 5 teaspoons of baking powder that I have sifted. Now, 5 teaspoons seems like a lot until you remember that it's being used as an egg substitute. And for that matter, this recipe, since it's eggless and milkless, would be great for vegan people. And it doesn't have honey as the sugar substitute either. It has brown sugar, which isn't really a sugar substitute, but it's a substitute for traditional white sugar. So we add this to our saucepan. Ooh, that's getting a little full. I'm gonna start mixing before I add the rest. Oh man, this whisk sucks. But my slightly less sucky whisk kinda got destroyed in the dishwasher. So, I mean, I guess this is something that's worth investing a little bit of money into, a good whisk. I mean, it can't cost that much, right? And it would be a huge help. So once this is all mixed up, which is hard to do one-handed because I'm holding my phone, I'm going to transfer it into a pan that, I don't believe it, let me check. Yeah, it doesn't have to be greased, the pan doesn't, and I'm gonna bake it for 45 minutes. Alright, I'm gonna put my phone down now so that I can mix this a little better. Looks much better than it did the last time you saw it, right? The batter does. So now I'm gonna pop it in the oven for about 45 minutes. Well, not about, but exactly 45 minutes. And in the meantime, I'll go shoot that other video I was talking about. Alright, see y'all soon. Alright, the moment of judgment. It's actually been sitting out for a few minutes, cooling. It smells really good. I think it's gonna taste good too. We'll see. I guess I can't really cut into it one-handed while I'm holding the camera. Well, I guess we'll see. Feels really soft. I hope it's cooked all the way through. I mean, the center isn't raw. I guess it's just supposed to be a really soft cake. And maybe it just hasn't sat out long enough. Alright, let's see how it tastes. I mean, yeah, it tastes fine. Nothing to write home about, though. It's, definitely less sweet than most of the desserts that we're accustomed to. I think because of the brown sugar instead of white sugar. I wonder how one of the, desserts that uses honey or corn syrup as a sugar replacement would compare. Could be an interesting thing to try. Basically, the moral of the story is, during the war, with the sugar shortages, both World War I and World War II, because sugar was rationed during both, people had to get accustomed to slightly less sweet desserts. That is the moral of the story. It tastes fine, though. It's just not as sweet as a lot of the desserts that I'm used to. And, some sweetness could probably be added if I used icing like it suggested, but I think, thinking about this realistically, would the 1940s housewife want to use the egg, the sugar, etc. to make the icing? Because, you know, back then a lot of the icings did use egg whites. People were eating raw egg whites back then because they weren't freaked out about salmonella like we are now. I don't know if it's because they just didn't know about it. Probably. But yeah, legit. If you go back in 1940s cookbooks, you will see a lot of the icing recipes use raw egg whites that have just been beaten to a peak. And then there's all kinds of other stuff that we don't eat anymore, like cow brains and stuff, you know? But, yeah. I mean, when people were literally eating calf brains, I don't think that the fact that they were eating raw egg whites is anywhere near as bad, but still lots of weird stuff that we don't eat these days very much, or at all. Anyway, I am rambling, so I'm gonna leave this video here. Happy 4th of July. Happy Independence Day to those of you who are in the US. If you're not in the US, sorry, I love you still. Yeah, I just figured, you know, you can't get too much more patriotic than a war cake. So that's why I chose this today. Alright, see y'all later.